this show changes the MCU going forward, and there's going to be a season 2. Hello, welcome to Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Khaleel Ward. On this episode, I'll be talking about the Disney Plus series Loki. Stars Tom Hiddleston, Sophia DiMartino, and Owen Wilson. It follows Loki after he escapes during Endgame, when he picks up the cube and he disappears. Essentially, he's arrested by the TVA, and he's a variant. Basically, everything that happened throughout the MCU with Loki was supposed to happen, including him dying in Infinity War. But when he escapes, it changes the timeline. And the TVA controls the timeline. They control everything, essentially, that's happening in the MCU. So when he gets arrested, they explain everything to him. And we get to see Loki's life play out in this first episode of the show. Loki changes during the MCU. At first, he's just very evil. And then as he appears in more movies, he starts changing a little bit. And by the time Thor Ragnarok comes around, him and Thor are working together, and he's kind of a anti-hero in that movie. And then Infinity War, he sacrificed himself. So when Loki dies, it's a different type of Loki. So we get to see that in the first episode because he gets to watch his life play out, the events that he hasn't experienced yet because he escapes during Avengers. And it's just class acting on Tom Hiddleston's part, just him reacting to seeing how his life plays out. And we get that Loki change immediately in the first episode because he does try to do everything. He wants to escape immediately when he gets there, and he realizes he can't escape and he doesn't have his power. So he kind of changes and he starts working for the TVA under Mobius. And Mobius is played by Owen Wilson. He believes that this version of Loki can help him capture another version of Loki, another variant that's out there attacking TVA agents, and that Loki wants to destroy the TVA. So Mobius gets Loki to work with him, and the show is a mix of a drama and adventure. It's a lot of talking, but it's great acting. The show is weird, but not like WandaVision weird. WandaVision was weird because it was like taking place in different decades and everything was changing around it. This show is weird because it has to do with time and time travel and timelines, and it's a little different each episode because you learn a little bit more about the TVA and their plans. You learn a little bit more about the variant and their plans. Eventually, Loki does come across the other variant, Sylvie, played by Sophia DiMartino. And again, a lot of talking, but a lot of information is learned about her plans, her life, his life, and, what they want to do to the TVA. So the show, it takes a while to get going in terms of having an action set piece of some kind, because again, there's a lot of talking, and every episode leaves you like, what's going to happen next? Because WandaVision, I think by the end, because it was 9 episodes, I think by the end people had their hopes up of certain things happening, and they were kind of disappointed. And Falcon and Winter Soldier, it seemed pretty straightforward. A lot of action set pieces, people fighting. I think fans predicted that a little bit more. And I think with Loki, it was hard to predict because you didn't know what was going to happen. And Kevin Feige said this was going to change the MCU, and it really does. I think this show sticks the landing, as they say, with only 6 episodes. The last episode is just like, you're on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how things are going to change. And it does change a lot. And I had a good time with it. Again, it's not going to be a bunch of fighting and action, but I think this is the best Tom Hiddleston has been as Loki because we get to see him not in like a character. Usually he's performing as Loki, as the God of Mischief, and he wants to take over people. In this, he's Loki, but he's very low key. But his acting is just off the charts, and you get to really see him as a performer. Like, he delivers some great lines. His chemistry with Sophia DiMartino is incredible. His chemistry with Owen Wilson is incredible. And you kind of feel for him a little bit more, even more so than when he dies in Infinity War. Like, when he has this moment with Owen Wilson's character, it's like it's touching, and you're rooting for him for things to go right for him finally. You know, you don't want to see anything bad happen to him. And again, like I said in the beginning, there is a season 2, and it says it at the end of the last episode immediately. You know, that's their like mid-credit scene at the end of the last episode. But it's an interesting series. I still would give the slight edge to WandaVision in terms of Marvel's best, product, because it was so different and weird at the time. It feels like it came out a long time ago, but Loki is right there, right behind it for the Disney Plus series. So I will go WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier. But Loki, it just has really good highs, in just 6 episodes, and it leaves you wondering what's going to happen in these movies that's coming next, especially like Doctor Strange, because things change a lot in this show. If you watched it, please let me know what you thought about it. Did you enjoy the performances or certain characters? But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.